there and welcome to my channel. I'm Jennifer. This is A Country Life and it is getting to be crunch time for getting the cookbook to the publisher. I have until Thursday and it's Monday. So pretty much all of the edits are done. What I'm working on right now is I like to, on the dividers, have a photo, and since you know, I mean, we do grow cranberries, it's kind of nice to have a cranberry recipe for each of those photos. So what I'm working on today and probably tomorrow and probably Wednesday is going to be making the recipes and getting those photographed for those dividers for the cookbook. I'm going to get started on cran oat muffins. It's actually cranberry apple oat muffins. So this is the recipe right here, and you can see I've been working on edits, then I go back through and you know, make those corrections, things like that. But this is it, and I'm going to get started with that. So in my KitchenAid, I am going to get the egg, the oil, and the milk all beat together, and then in a separate bowl, I'm going to mix together the sugars, the oatmeal, the flour, all of the dry ingredients. Then we're going to mix those together just until moistened, and then I will fold in the fruits. And do I put nuts in this one? No, I do not. So then I will fold in the fruits. We'll get these baked up. I just want to point out that any recipe of mine that calls for oatmeal, it really can be either old-fashioned or quick oats. It does not make any difference. At least I've never found it to make any difference at all. And 3 teaspoons of something is always a tablespoon. So I'm putting in 1 tablespoon of baking powder. Nutmeg is a pretty strong flavor, and so only a half a teaspoon of nutmeg. You can go less if nutmeg is not your favorite flavor. You can even leave it out if you don't like nutmeg. It's still going to taste just fine with the cinnamon in it. But we're going to do 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. This is a half teaspoon measuring, so 4 of these. A half teaspoon salt. And that's everything. I'm just going to get that stirred together here. Then I'm going to get out the cranberries, and I'm also going to chop 1 apple. It calls for 1 cup of chopped apples. I might need a second apple. Oh, yeah. Okay, bring that on the table right now. All right, I'm just going to stir the dry right into the wet. Just barely mix it till it's, I just want to mix it till it just combines. And I usually go even a little bit under just combined so that I can still have like room for mixing in without over mixing when I mix in the fruit. For cranberries, rarely do we chop or slice our cranberries. We just throw them in whole. We like that tart flavor, and so that's what we do. But do what your family likes. If you guys like them chopped or ground up, do that. Either line your pans or spray them. Either one's fine. I just saw, not really a mistake, but a little thing I need to make a note of in here. So this particular muffin recipe is for 400 degrees, but that's really if you are using a light colored muffin tin, one of those just like kind of plain silver ones. If yours is a non-stick or it's a dark pan, or it's just so old that it's already that it's dark, then you want to drop your temperature down by 25 degrees. Otherwise, what'll happen is the outside will get too brown and almost kind of hard before the inside gets cooked. And then when you bring it out and it starts to cool, your muffin will like sink. You'll get that little sinkhole in the middle. So just turn your temperature down 25 degrees. Still bake it at the time that's listed. Always start a little bit less because every oven is different. You know yours, and if you always have to bake for like the suggested time or a minute or two longer, then, you know, then do that. If you notice that your oven typically bakes things faster, then always set it a minute or two less, because you can always add on, you know, a minute or two. But once they're too baked, you cannot unbake them. All right, so I'm gonna get these filled. This is gonna make 12 muffins. I hear my phone dinging right now. Amber's trying to get us to buy a horse. Do you believe that? She's trying to get us to buy a horse. And I'm pretty sure that that's what she's texting me about right now. So I have 6 minutes left on the muffins, so I thought what I would do is just get some cranberry jelly going. So this is going to be different than cranberry sauce. I'm actually just going to be making like the juice and letting the juice drip through. So I have about a gallon. It was full. So this was like a 1 gallon Ziploc bag, and I just put that in here. These are frozen right now, and I'm going to just fill the water just to cover the fruit. I don't want a ton of extra water because I want a lot of flavor. I don't want it to be diluted. Okay, now remember, cranberries will float, so you do have to kind of pay attention. Otherwise, the whole mass will just keep floating up and up, and you'll be left with a whole bunch of water underneath. So this is good. When I press them down, they're just covered. I'm going to bring this to a boil now and then let it simmer until the berries pop. Somewhere around, well, I'm not going to give you a time yet because it always just kind of depends. I'm going to put the cover on just until they come to a boil because that's just going to help them come to a boil a little bit faster. Cranberry apple oat muffins are all done. I tried one. They're delicious. My favorite way actually to eat these is to take the little paper off, and when they're still warm, to put a pat of butter right on the bottom and let it kind of like soak in. I don't know why this particular muffin, how I came across that or why I like it, but I love it with these muffins. So anyway, I really like this. You get nice, you don't have to cube up the apple too small. If you keep them a little bit bigger, you get just a little bit of a firmness to the apple, and you actually know you're eating apple. Because if you've ever noticed, sometimes when you cook apple, they almost kind of lose their flavor if they're too tiny, and you don't even realize they're there. So I like to keep them big so that we know that they're there, and I just think it gives great flavor. All right, now I'm going to try to photograph. That is not my forte. So I just put the cranberries into this double layer of cheesecloth here over top of a bowl. And this is my setup. I just use the stainless steel bowl here with a colander lined with the cheesecloth. Now I like to get my cheesecloth wet first so that the juice, you know, the first juice doesn't have to like soak up into the cheesecloth and then it start dripping. I like my cheesecloth to be wet. I've never read that anyplace. It's just my own my own way. Anyway, I'm just going to let this drip until it basically stops dripping. Then we'll cook it up with some sugar to make a nice clear jelly today. So the cranberries here have been dripping for probably 3 hours. It ended up filling up. It could not have worked out more perfectly because it's 3 cups of sugar for every 4 cups of juice, and I have 8 cups of juice here, 2 quarts. So that was measured out perfectly, and then I measured out right away my 6 cups of sugar. I'm going to stir in my 6 cups of sugar right away and set this to high so that I can bring this to a boil. For this amount of juice, I should have used a higher sided stock pot. It was okay. I just turned it down quick, and then I got like about a teaspoon of butter in there. If you put a teaspoon of butter in, it sometimes helps with some of the foaming. So anyway, it boiled way up, almost over, but I was able to keep it. You can see right there. That's how far it boiled up to. Anyway, I just kind of turned it down for just a little bit, and now I have it at a 4 on my stove, and it is just boiling away, and I'm going to just keep boiling this until it looks like it's starting to thicken, and then I will bring a metal spoon over. Well, I'll show you that. It's called sheeting, and so you dip a cold metal spoon in, and when you bring it up, you kind of, what you want is for not all of the juice to just run off in a stream. You want it to kind of sheet off, so it, well, I'll show you when we get to that point. So my jelly reached 218 degrees, which is the temperature for jelly for my altitude. You just have to go online and check that out if you're wondering. And then I also did the spoon test. So I dip a cold spoon in, and then, I know it's kind of steamy, but just give it a second. And you see how the drips, come on, there, do you see how the drips are like hanging before they fall? I know, I'm trying to focus here. There's another one there. It's hanging before it falls. So, it's done. I have it turned off. I'm going to get that into the jars and get it all sealed up right now. Okay, so I have my water bath canner. There it is. It is coming to a boil right now, and I ended up with 2 pints, 2 half pints of jelly from all of that. So yeah, not a whole lot. I'm actually kind of surprised. I thought I was going to get a little bit more yield out of it. I'm pretty sure that the problem is because my kettle didn't have high enough sides, and so I couldn't keep it all the time at high temperature. And you really need it at high temperature to get that temperature up fast and, you know, to really get your jelly to gel. So anyway, I ended up steaming off quite a bit of the moisture today. Well, that's just how it is sometimes. It is almost 9 o'clock at night, and I really am not wanting to be doing this right now. I was hoping to get it done earlier today. But anyway, I wiped the rims, I put a lid on, I put a ring on, just fingertip tight, and then I'm going to submerge these into the water bath canner for 15 minutes, take them out, and set them off to the side to like kind of gel up and cool off. And then tomorrow we'll check the lids, make sure that they seal properly, and like tomorrow evening, that's when I'll actually take the rings off. But I will show all of that to you tomorrow. I am going to turn the camera off for tonight. Just know that I'm putting these into here as soon as this comes to a boil. Alrighty, it's the next day. I'm back in the kitchen, and my cranberry jelly didn't set quite the way I had hoped. I've been having some troubles lately with both my rhubarb jelly. It was a very, very loose gelatinous set, and it looks like this cranberry jelly is going to be the same thing. So I'm not really sure exactly why that is. This does not have any pectin. Cranberries normally have plenty of pectin to set up, you know, without adding it. So anyway, yeah, we'll still eat this up, of course. It's just a looser set. Instead of having to kind of like scoop it, you just kind of pour it and then spread it that way. And it still works. We still eat peanut butter and jelly just the same. But anyway, I do think that it looks a lot prettier if it sets up a little bit firmer. All right, so the next thing that I'm going to be working on here are the slow cooker cranberry barbecue pork ribs. So I have about 7 pounds. So what I'm going to do is put together a rub first, and then I'm going to get these into the crock pot. So since my recipe calls for 4 pounds, then I'm just going to kind of adjust my seasonings based on having about 6 3/4 pounds. So almost doubling it, but not quite. I just pulled out a tablespoon. A tip that I would share with you all is that when you're doing a lot of measuring like this, it's all these dry ingredients, you know, sometimes it's kind of time consuming to get out all the individual. Well, this one is only a 1 tablespoon and a 1 teaspoon, I guess, and a half teaspoon as well. But to just know that a tablespoon is equal to 3 teaspoons, then you can just kind of gauge all your seasonings, because when you're making a rub, it doesn't have to be exact. It's like whether you have a teaspoon of onion powder or 7/8 teaspoon of onion powder, it's not going to make much difference. So just know the measurement for, let's say, a tablespoon, and then go from there. It just makes it go a lot faster. So next up, I'm going to make some sausage stuffing balls, and this starts with a pound of pork sausage. I need to get that browning. I'm also going to add in some celery and some onion and get that sauteing with the pork sausage. In order to get ready for today, this morning I did have to run in to get a few groceries. This isn't supposed to be here though. So I did pick up some of this Portesi Italian seasoning. I tried ordering this the other day. I did a Walmart pickup and they claimed that they were out of this. They probably had about 150 of these when I was at the store, so maybe they just restocked it. Anyway, also not for today's cooking, but Peter saw this blue raspberry jello when we were looking for the French vanilla pudding for some cookies that I'll be making, and he asked for that, so I said sure, we'll do that. We needed some crushed pineapple, some chow mein noodles. These again are not for today, but they are for a recipe that's in my new cookbook that it's been a long time since I made it and I wanted to make it again. And then we picked up some chicken stuffing mix as well as some marshmallows for the cranberry fluff. So that was really it. I also stocked up on toilet paper. You guys know in our main bathroom we always use this. Yes, I did receive one of those extenders and we put it both directions and it didn't matter because the opening or where the little clips are for ours is exactly in the middle. So it doesn't matter if you flip it this way or this way. I'm talking about the little holder that goes through the middle of the toilet paper. It still would drag it down and it would still make it so it wouldn't roll. Anyway, we are completely happy. I know everyone's trying to solve that problem for us, but we are actually just fine with this toilet paper. It works and has always gotten the job done. And it used to be 68 cents. It's now 84 cents at Walmart. But anyway, I picked up 10 because they've been out of it for a while. And every time I try to get it through grocery pickup, nope, it's a no-go. And my supply was getting very, very low. So 10, so 40 rolls, that'll keep us in business. Okay, so here's the sausage. I like to just cook it till it's just done. As soon as the last little bit of pink is out of it, I'm not really trying to get a crust on this, kind of like I would for pizza or something when I'm making pork sausage. So here's what we're going to do next. I have this is one box of stovetop stuffing, 1 cup of chicken broth. I'm going to put all of these cranberries in there. I'm also going to crack this egg. If there was any excess grease from the pork sausage, I would have covered my wooden spoon in a paper towel and gone around and soaked it up, but I just didn't think that there was really anything to be concerned about there. There wasn't very much at all. I'm just going to get my oven set to 325 degrees. I should have done that a few minutes ago. And here are the sausage stuffing balls. I'm going to pour this melted butter over top of them. I usually just pour a little bit over each one. And then I'm going to bake this for about a half an hour at 325 degrees. I'm also going to spend just a minute cleaning up my spot here, and then I'm going to start on some cookies. Next up, I'm going to make some bakery style oatmeal cranberry cookies. And I'm starting with 2.5 cups of just regular all-purpose flour and 2 full tablespoons of baking soda. I'm just going to mix that over here, and I'm going to set that aside, and then we'll move on to the other ingredients.
Rainy.
Yeah, so the sky just opened and we are getting a downpour right now. But I just wanted to give you guys a peek at how the pork ribs turned out and the stuffing balls. We're going to have some salad with this tonight, as well as some sliced pears, and that's going to be supper here tonight. We are on day 3 of cranberry recipes and getting prepped for taking photos for the cookbook and all of that. Anyway, we're going to make cranberry fluff today, so I just measured out 1 pound of cranberries. Maria is going to dump those. They're frozen. This is going to get really loud. So she's going to dump these. And you know what? Did you put a grinder on there? Did you put a blade?
No.
Okay, well, you're going to have to dump them back because we have to put a blade on there. So she's going to dump them back. We're going to get the blade out. Just like that. Yep. Okay, now...
We're going to dump them in.
Dump them
It's
in.
locked.
Put the lid on, and then we're going to grind these until they're very, very small pieces. Whoa, 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 whoa. You got, whoa, 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 whoa. Lift up, lift up. Okay, now, whoops, right here. Now, lock it in. Perfect. Okay, so this is just what you want them to look like. Very, very finely, like minced or ground up. So now pour it in here, Maria, and then we're going to add in the sugar. That's okay if the blade falls in. We'll just pick the blade out. There you go. And we're going to have to get a spatula to get all of that out. Okay, now we're going to add in 2 cups of sugar. I'm going to stir that around and then cover this and let it sit on the counter. Anywhere from 2 hours to even overnight is fine. You're just really kind of trying to get the sugar to dissolve in with all of the moisture from the cranberries. And when I start with frozen cranberries, sometimes I have to drain off a little bit of the juice because it gets just too juicy, because the frozen cranberries will juice more than the fresh cranberries. And then with that juice, if I do end up having to drain any of that juice off, it works really well to use as a sweetener in a cocktail. If you're making maybe a cranberry mule or maybe a cranberry in Malibu or something like that, it's very, very good as a sweetener for a cocktail. Or I just give it to Warren and he drinks it right up. It's just sugary and syrupy and he loves it, and it's super strong cranberry flavor. Okay, so next up we're going to make a cranberry pie while this just kind of waits and juices. So I have in here 3½ cups. We're not going to grind it quite, just sort of chop it, Maria. So you're going to hit the pulse probably 15 times, okay? We're just going to chop them roughly. That looks good. So 15 times she did that, and that looks just right for the cranberry pie. This is one of the things that I do like to chop cranberries in. I tell you all the time that when I'm making cranberry muffins or breads or, well, yeah, muffins, breads, just so many things, I don't usually chop cranberries, but actually you've seen me chop them a few times in this video so far, so sometimes I do. And we're going to get the ingredients mixed together for the pie.
Some of the cranberries aren't chopped.
That's okay. They don't all have to be chopped. We just kind of want just a rough chop.
Can I dump the sugar? Is there going to be another cup?
There's going to be some more sugar. Yep. So there's 1½ cups of sugar. We need 1½ tablespoons of flour, so we'll just kind of do a heaping tablespoon. There you go. Put that in. And I'm actually only going to put in 1 tablespoon of water because, again, these are frozen cranberries, and as they thaw, they create quite a bit of juice. So only 1 tablespoon of water today, but normally if you're doing fresh cranberries, put in the full 3 tablespoons. 1/4 teaspoon salt. I actually have 2 pie crusts in the freezer from the last time I made pie crust, and so I'm going to, I had them in the fridge overnight, so they're just starting to kind of get about room temperature, so I'm going to start getting these rolled out.
I think we look good. I think they look pretty good.
It's all stirred really well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to start rolling out some next. Okay, I probably won't need any more yet. And then in a minute, what you're going to do is when we put this into the pie plate, Maria, you are going to pour in all that filling. Okay?
Put like something on them, and then we put brown sugar on them.
Cinnamon sugar.
Cinnamon sugar. And then you bake them.
Nope, we're going to be putting a lattice crust on this.
What's a lattice?
Okay, so pour all of that filling right in.
Can you hold it and I dump it? Like, you hold it and I scrape it in.
One of the things I think that really sets off when you taste a homemade pie, you're like, wow, this is really good. It's because they probably put some butter. Maybe my scoops are a little, my pats are a little too big this time, but about 2 tablespoons of butter. This looks like, that's pretty close to 2 tablespoons right there. There's something about as that butter kind of melts down into the pie, it just adds a really good richness to it. The butter and the sugar combines, that's just always such a good flavor. What?
I said lovely, lovely, lovely.
So I'm going to take my biggest lattice piece. I'm going to put it right there. I'm going to put my other biggest one right there. And this is really just a puzzle when you're doing lattice. Yeah, it's just a puzzle. Actually, I'm going to take one of my shorter pieces here right now. I'm going to put this short piece here. And it's really just a puzzle.
Hey Dad.
What?
So with some scraps of dough and the bits of cranberry in there, I'm making a Barbie cranberry pie with my Barbie pie pan.
Nice.
Alrighty, my filling. Look.
Very
That's
cute.
done. I'm gonna trim these edges a bit. My Barbies should have a YouTube channel about making this.
All right, I'm just going to brush the top with some milk. I should probably get my oven turned on.
And does the milk make it brown?
It gives it a nice kind of golden, yep. So I just preheated the oven for 450, which is pretty hot. It's only going to go in at that for 10 minutes though. Then I'll turn it down to 350 for about another 40 minutes. It doesn't take a whole lot of milk to do that, just, I mean, under a tablespoon. And I have some of the sugar in the raw, which I just thought would look really pretty on top, rather than just regular white sugar. It's just sugar in the raw. It's just where it's not been like refined all the way. Well, Maria is making a little Barbie pie.
I took scraps of dough, put it in my little pie pan thing, and then put some bits of cranberry from the bowl in it, and then put some dough on top. Did the little thing with the fork on the edge. Put milk on it, and now I'm going to
you're going to put a little bit of the sugar, huh?
Sugar on it.
Okay, and this is what the pie is looking like before it goes into the oven. So like I said, 450, I'm going to put it in for 10 minutes, turn it down to 350 for another 40 minutes. Yesterday I made the cookies, and I only made 3 pans. They make really big cookies. Did I show those cookies? So I don't remember if I showed the cookies to you or not yesterday, but here are the cookies, and this is the kind of cookie they actually, I think, taste better the second day. There's something about the chewiness and the flavor. It really tastes just like a bakery cookie. They are, I just really, really, really like these. Anyway, we didn't need to have a ton of them because I'm, been just kind of cooking a lot of things lately. And so I put these on a pan, I froze them down, and now they're just cookie balls. They're frozen, ready to go. So if we want to have just a dozen cookies one day or something like that, I can just pull these out, put them on the pan, and bake them right from frozen. Sometimes what I do is turn the temperature down a little bit when I bake cookies from frozen like that, and then cook them for a little bit longer time to make sure that they get cooked all the way through. Or you can pull them out, set them on your counter for an hour, let them thaw, and then bake them. That works too. But sometimes when we're ready for a dozen cookies, we're like, we want them right now, so we have to adjust. Okay, I have 10 seconds left on the pie, just for the first 10 minutes. So I'll show you what that is looking like so far. You can see the edges just starting to get a little bit brown. All right, I'm gonna put this down to 350 and start and timer for 40 minutes. There we go. This was the little bit of crust that was left over from even what Maria was monkeying around with. I brushed it with milk, put some cinnamon sugar on it, and baked it in the oven. We'll cut this into either 2 or 3 pieces. I'm not sure if Joe really likes this, but otherwise Peter and Maria will just gobble this right up. Sometimes we call these pie crust cookies. Look at the pie, it's out of the oven. It looks and it smells delicious. Of course, there's always that concern when making a straight cranberry pie, for me anyway, that I sweetened it enough because, they are very, very tart. Although, serve this up with a little whipped cream or some ice cream, that always, that always sweetens it up too. So anyway, just wanted to give you a look at the pie. Don't don't shy away from a lattice top crust. You watched how I did it. You just kind of put one on and just kind of start weaving them back and forth. And it doesn't always turn out perfect. Look at that one, wasn't quite long enough, but that's okay. That's okay, it's still gonna taste good. What do you think, Joe?
Yes.
Well, Maria and I are back in the kitchen here for a 4th day now, working through cranberry recipes, and today we're going to put together the cranberry fluff. So yesterday we ground the cranberries. Well, Maria ground the cranberries. We mixed the cranberries with the sugar, and then we just let it set overnight. You don't need to let it set overnight. It's just that's how it worked out. Yesterday was a full day for us, and yeah, it ended up sitting overnight. So you can see that there is quite a bit of liquid in here, but it's not like swimming in liquid. So I think we're going to leave all of this in here for today. And then what we're going, but if I pulled it aside and there was a lot of liquid, sometimes I will just scoop off some of that excess liquid, but it seems fine today. So what I'm going to do now, actually Maria is going to open up the can of pineapple. Then she's going to pour it into this strainer here, and we're just going to let that drain for a little bit while we whip the cream. Can you get that? Don't use your teeth. So actually what's going to happen, Maria is going to put some of this in. We don't actually need the whole can because you really only need, just wait a second, Maria, one of those small cans of crushed pineapple. They just didn't have any of those at Walmart when I was there the other day, so I had to get a big can. So this is 20 ounces. We really only need 8 ounces. So put like 2 big scoops in here. Okay, Maria? Yep, that's good.
It's gonna fall. We're good. We're good. We're good.
Okay. Yep, and one more.
Sounds so weird.
Okay, we're gonna let that drain, just kind of drip drain while we whip the cream. Just pour it all the way so it drips for a little while because we want to get every last little bit in. Just turn it on to number 1 and we'll let it whip for just a little bit. And then after a little bit, what I like to do, oh my gosh. All right, so we're gonna start over here with new cream because when we turned on the KitchenAid, there must have been some cookie dough jammed up in there or something and it fell into the cream. So here we go, Maria, let's try again. Pour it all in. As it gets close, you want to watch it because what you don't want is to overmix and it turn into butter.
But we can use it if it turns into butter.
Well, there's a process that you have to do. You got to squeeze out the excess buttermilk and everything. We've got a peeker. Joe's peeking in on us. There we go. That's getting really close. Turn it off. And unlock it and lift it up. Let's see what happens. Okay, see how it sticks nicely to that? That is definitely stiff peaks.
Okay, there. Don't turn it off. Turn it off.
It's filming right now, bud. All right, pour in the marshmallows.
The whole bag?
The whole bag of marshmallows, 1 pound. 1 pound of cranberries, 1 pound of marshmallows.
1 pound with Maria eating a cup.
Press the spoon onto the pineapple so that the juice all goes through because we don't want that extra juice in there, otherwise it'll get too runny. Yep, so just kind of fold it around.
Hi.
Oh my God.
We're making cranberry fluff.
Ooh.
It turned into cream.
It turned into
It
cream.
used to be liquid.
I
Now
know.
you have to scrape.
Isn't that cool?
That's so cool. That should be like a science
There's button. You have a button, Mom?
Awesome.
Let me see.
Now do I stir this in?
Nope, just keep the button going, Joe. All right, so now we're just going to fold in the cream. Let's try not to make a mess, okay?
What, Mom?
Everything's sticky.
What did you kids do?
I don't. What are you talking? What did we do?
Everything is so sticky. Nope, I'm going to do this part, okay?
Sticky? What?
Dad's going to be very happy that we made this.
I'm so excited. I'm gonna be very.
You're really happy that we made it, huh? All right, Maria's going to put the cover on this, and that is going to bring us to the end of this video. I hope that you guys enjoyed coming along with us and just making all these different things out of cranberries. There's so many things that you can do with cranberries. Of course, there's lots of sweet things, you know, but don't hesitate to throw the cranberries in with your meat, your pork, your chicken, that type of thing. And you don't necessarily have to eat the cranberries. Like, actually, we don't really eat all of the cranberries that are in with the barbecue sauce. I mean, some of them cook down, and we do, but usually we just kind of, you know, they kind of just fall off to the side in the juice when we're pulling out the ribs. It just adds a lot of really good flavor to it. So if you have not already subscribed, hit the subscribe button, and I'll put a couple more videos up here, cooking ones, probably cranberry cooking videos for you all, and we will see you over in the next video. And Joe just got his apron on, and we're done.
Yep.
We'll make something else though, okay? Should we
Okay.
do something else?
Yes.
Okay. All right. We'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.
Bye-bye.